All right, so tell me a little bit about yourselves and how you got started in the exercise therapy realm. What motivated you guys to do this kind of therapy? Because it's really complex.
Yeah. So I was at Sonoma State University. I graduated with my bachelor's degree in kinesiology there. I've been an athlete growing up. I did gymnastics and competitive cheerleading, and I always had an interest in sports. And then when I was probably about 13 years old, I had just some desire that I wanted to work with people, helping them walk again. I knew that I wanted to get in some sort of physical therapy realm, but I didn't think that I wanted to go into the traditional therapy route. And so just as like the stars aligned after college, I had a friend that had worked for SCIFIT, and I reached out to her and thought that it would be a good fit for me. I got a job interview, and a week later I started, and I just completely fell in love with the work and how meaningful it really is to help people day in and day out doing what we do here.
Uh, yeah, no, mine is similar to Jessica. Same thing. Athlete growing up, played a ton of sports. Went to San Jose State. Was involved in sports there, but was always interested in like the rehabilitation side as far as like when people would have surgery and when I had surgery, I was very interested in like the rehab that I had to go through for my knee and everything. Um, so loved doing that and figuring out the different exercises that you can do to, work around various issues that may happen. I was working out after I graduated. I was working out at a gym, um, teaching a class actually, and the wife of one of the owners in Sacramento approached me and said that they were hiring and that I had a personality that would fit what they were doing there. And ended up with an interview about a week later and fell in love with it and never left.
hmm So what sorts of guys do you things do you do as neuro exercise therapists? Because you guys do like a lot of different things because neuro exercise therapy is different than regular physical therapy.
Yeah, so we always like to tell people that like the vibe that we want to have in our facility is different from a traditional therapy setting. We want it to feel like a gym. We want it to feel like a family in here. So when people come in, every person we greet by their name. There's loud music playing. We're all kind of interacting with each other, messing around, having a good time, laughing. And day to day, like we have, anywhere from upwards of 7 to 8 clients. We're very hands-on with our clients. We're building a lot of relationships. We're helping them move if they can't move. I always hear Devin say, like, if someone can't squat, then we're squatting with them. We're finding ways to help people exercise in ways that they might not be able to on their own. So that the goal is to get them to be as independent as possible in the future.
Yeah, that's it right there. Yeah.
Yeah. Like how do you go about like addressing an individual's needs? What sorts of things do you look at? Because I bet that you guys work with different populations and people with different conditions. So I'm wondering what your guys' approach is.
Um, what the approach is different depending on the person, as you might imagine, right? So when a person comes in for their initial evaluation, they don't know, but their evaluation starts when they get out of their car. Jessica and I can see out the window to the cars. So as soon as that person gets out of the car, whether they're being pushed in a wheelchair, driving their own wheelchair, walking in with a walker, lobster and crutches, whatever way they're getting into the building, we're watching how that person is moving. So we start to get an understanding of, okay, this is what we may need to, how we want to approach their training while they're in here. Then throughout their tour around the facility, we're watching that person. We're seeing if they get tired while they're moving around, if they need to take breaks when we're talking to them. We're evaluating a little bit of cognitive things that are going on. So if we know, okay, hey, we need to make sure the music's a little lower, or we need to make sure we at least, don't overstimulate them that first time they're in because there's a lot that's going on in here. We're doing a lot of that. Then we'll come in, we'll talk about their injury or diagnosis more specifically. That's when we really get into, okay, hey, they have a, in a car accident. So in addition to some sort of spinal cord injury, we have a shoulder problem because of the impact from a car, right? So we go, okay, one idea that we had may not work because we can't use this arm in the way that we thought we were going to be able to, right? And so we do that. Then we go out on the floor and there's a whole physical evaluation where Jessica and I will put the person through a series of movements, just testing flexibility, strength, connection to the muscles as on top of that person getting their mind-body connection for the day warming up, right? When you're going to do something active, you need to make sure you're warmed up. And so that's part of that. After we've gone through all that, then we have a better picture of what to do for that person. And then we get going, and it can be anywhere from they're going to work on rolling around and crawling to, all right, we're going to be on a treadmill and a harness and walking and doing a bunch of different things in between.
Mm-hmm. Like my next question, well, I guess it's a follow-up question, but what do you do from a neuro exercise perspective to make sure that individuals, have the independence and autonomy, if you will, to sort of live, independent lives?
What do we do from a neuro exercise perspective, you said?
Yeah, exactly. Mm-hmm.
Again, that's one that varies from person to person. So our goal is to help people live more independent lives. For some people, that may mean that they advance from driving their wheelchair with their head to driving their wheelchair with their arm, and they're able to feed themselves. For some people, it may be learning how to transfer into a car so they can drive themselves to their training with us. And for some people, it's, hey, they're possibly able to get back up on their feet and start moving around without the use of a wheelchair, without the use of some sort of walking implement. So that varies from person to person and really from day to day in here.
And really using like different modalities too, and like meeting the person where they're at. So we have like the electrical stimulation that we can use. And so if someone can't, contract a muscle on their own while we're doing something during a session, we can add the electrical stimulation to those muscles that we're trying to target so that we can get more out of that exercise. And then as time goes on, they can kind of gain some strength through that and be able to hopefully do that on their own as well.
Mm-hmm. My next question, I guess, is what impact does neuro exercise therapy have on the disability community? What sorts of stories have you heard from patients, clients?
From like our facility specifically?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
God, so many stories.
Yeah.
Do you have anyone specific?
I mean, there's ones where, people have been able, like I said, that's kind of goes back to the independence question, I guess you'd say. But like there's people that have, driven for the first time in 5 or 6 years, and they're just happy to go to the grocery store by themselves and not have to worry about waiting for a ride or doing that type of thing. We've had people, that were just able to go for a walk and just enjoyed being outside and going for a walk, right? Not getting tired when they're going for a walk. We've had people
and even just feeling comfortable in the gym. Like I just recently had a client who has been injured for quite some time, but actually like literally broke down into tears because she would look at herself in the mirror and she was like, I haven't seen myself move in what seemed like a normal way in so long. And she was like, she's like, it's hitting me. And so like people will have those types of moments like in the gym or like you said, outside, where it's like little stuff that they're doing for the first time. They're like, holy cow, like it might be something that's small, but it's impacting their day-to-day life. So like in such a big way.
Mm-hmm.
Where one of our clients can just move around under their own power for the first time where they feel safe. We can put mats on the ground. We can work on crawling and rolling. And for a lot of people, that's the only time that they get to move their body under their own power. And so it's
and being around a bunch of other people that are going through similar circumstances. Like we've had a client appreciation party recently, and everyone was like, it was so nice to sit down at a table and talk to people that understand what I'm going through. And like, there's no judgment. People are just able to like talk about, things in their day-to-day life, and everyone just has like such a good understanding. And so it really builds such a community that everyone can kind of help each other through those things that they're going through.
Mm-hmm. My last question, I guess, that I have for you guys is how can neuro exercise therapy create better outcomes for people with, a bunch of mobility issues? Whether it be people with cerebral palsy or any other sort of spinal cord injury or what have you.
How can it create better outcomes for those
Yeah,
individuals?
how can it create better outcomes for those types of individuals? Yeah.
Well, I would say that by adapting the program to meet the person where they're at, right? So you mentioned spinal cord injury, you mentioned cerebral palsy, and we know that both of those things specifically that you mentioned have a range of presentations, right? So we will meet that person where they're at. And so the outcome will be dependent on where that person is at and the different modalities that we are able to use with that person.
Mm-hmm. Anything you'd like to add?
Yeah, same kind of thing where it's just, I mean, the outcome can be that they become more confident, they feel more comfortable with themselves, like a day-to-day life, getting stronger. It's a lot, as much of a physical aspect that we're in here, it's a very much of a mental aspect as well, and emotional. And so like getting into the gym and being able to work and see yourself move in ways that you might not have before can really help your confidence and obviously help your strength and stuff in day-to-day life.
Mm-hmm.